It's not doing anything. The fuck?
It's in the process of going live.
Okay, what's up, everybody? Jacob, Donovan, back here with another live stream with you guys. You guys can't see us right now. Let me go back over here. What's going on, everybody? Jacob, Donovan, Miami Dolphins Syndicate. Donovan, how we doing today?
We're doing pretty good. Currently raining at my house, so if my connection's a little off, I apologize.
Your connection's always a little off, except that's just upstairs in your own head, naturally. Today, as you guys saw in the video yesterday, we talked a little bit about Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard. We're going to have a more in-depth conversation about whether we think it's going to happen, do we want it to happen, and then if it were to happen, who would we prefer? We're going to go over that. We're going to go over some training camp. By the time we do our live stream next week, the training camp will have started. That's going to be next Tuesday. So we're going to talk about our expectations, some guys that we hope to see ball out, what we think is going to happen, make a little bit of predictions, who's going to end up at a third wide receiver, who's going to end up at a third corner, talk about the rookies a little bit because they already started their camp. And got some trivia, got some Tua to talk about just because, it's a Dolphins channel. And if you don't talk about Tua at least once a week or at least once a live stream, you are not an actual Miami Dolphins YouTuber. That's just pretty much how it goes. You got to talk about Tua.
Facts,
Like,
bro.
it's just
Facts, bro.
one way or another, you have to talk about Tua. It's kind of
And
annoying.
look, we got the best of both worlds here. For the Tua truthers, you got you, and then for the Tua non, you got me.
I don't belong to either guys. I think both of y'all are stupid. I think you're stupid. I think Tua not stupid. I think Tua truthers are stupid. Like, look, the guy is who he is. There are some definite limitations. I think I should make your box like a slightly little bit bigger there.
Get my head.
Unfortunately, yeah, your big ass head. There we go. I think that's better. There's a middle ground to be held that I think I stand in when it comes to Tua. But that's neither here nor there. Thank you all very much for tuning in. And like I just mentioned, the first thing we're going to talk about is the running backs. So there are 3 running backs that did not get their extensions that we talked about in yesterday's video, going on with Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, and Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard looks like he's going to play, so he's out of the mix. And with Josh Jacobs and Saquon looking like they're willing to hold out, this might mean they are open to be traded and moved on from. So before we even get into this, of the 2 guys, which would you rather have between Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley?
Josh Jacobs, and for multiple reasons. And I know I've been talking about, I want a guy that's a pass catcher in the backfield. So trust me, I know I'm like going the complete opposite of what I've been saying here by going with Josh Jacobs over Saquon. But his price tag is at least $3 million cheaper, probably more. He's a fantastic runner in between the tackles, and he's healthy. Just the ability to stay on the field and not limp around with a hamstring for maybe have played 4 games, but yeah, no, you kind of played 4 games with a messed up hamstring.
I think that is overblown. So based off that, I would rather go with Saquon Barkley. We talked about this a little bit earlier on the phone. I think the narrative that he gets hurt a lot is a little overblown. Now, don't get me wrong. He has had quite a few injuries. He missed multiple. I think only 1 year where he played every single game, that being his rookie season. The year following his rookie season, played 13. The year after that, he played 2. The year after that, played 13. And then last year, only missed 1 game. So last year, was pretty much a clean slate for him. And we saw what that was. We saw the impact he had on the Giants' offense. I'd say he has just as much of an impact as Daniel Jones does on that offense. The versatility that he offers. When you see him lining up, you don't know where he's going to go. He's going to be in the backfield. Is he going to get the ball handed off to him? Are they going to throw it to him in the flat? Is he going to motion out into the slot? Like, there's just so many things you can do with a guy like that, and Mike McDaniel clearly likes that. The 49ers offense that he's mostly running clearly likes that, and Christian McCaffrey is thriving in that offense, was one of the best offensive players in all of football last year. So if you can get a guy like that, a guy like Saquon Barkley, who's clearly unhappy, you bring him in, what you'd have to give up for him, now that is definitely a conversation to be had, but if you give him a 3-year, $15 million contract, paying about $45 million over 3 years, basically the same thing Evan Ingram got, I'm very happy with that.
What kind of contract are you talking about?
What do you mean?
Bro, he's asking for like $16 million a year.
And I just said 15 million a year. That's 3 years. That's 45 million.
You
Oh, is that 12?
oh
No,
you
that's
said
15.
you said 3 years, 15 million.
No, for $15 million per season, which would
Okay,
amount to
okay,
3 years,
okay,
45.
okay.
I would love to sign him for 3 years,
Bro,
$15 million. I would love
because
that.
you also went on to say $4 to $5 million a year, and I'm just like, what are you
No,
saying?
I said $15 million and $45 million
Yo,
over
what's
that
up,
3 years.
Concrete? What's
So,
up, Cat?
what's up, guys? Please let us know down. Let us know y'all on the stream right now. If y'all are watching this later, because
Hey,
we are going to upload this eventually later. Do watch our live streams. We are live right now, 7 o'clock
Dalvin.
every Wednesday.
Hey,
Jacobs all
Con-
day. Dalvin would be cheaper.
Concrete got a point, bro. Concrete got a. Why would we give up assets for either of these guys when Dalvin's a free agent, wants to be here, probably going to be cheaper than either of those guys? You want to
Yeah,
give a
but
reason?
we've talked time and time again about Dalvin Cook, and if he ends up signing cool, I just don't think he is. I think he's going to end up as a Jet. Whereas now you have two disgruntled running backs who they're not asking out right now, and I think if they had their ideal situation, they would have signed that contract that they wanted and stayed in house. But you have two guys that might not play the entire season that want out, and running back's not necessarily a position of need, but if we can upgrade it at running back with either of these two guys, yes, you'd have to probably pay him some money. But with Tua still under his rookie deal, if you front load that contract for when he's those 2 years he's on his rookie deal still, that could be a massive impact on this offense.
That is also very true there. And, like you said, with the diversity?
You suck
No,
at
it's not.
English.
Bro, it's
Diversification.
been bad lately. Diversification. I don't think that's a word either.
That is diversification is 1,000,000% a word. What are you talking about?
Dalvin is in Miami. He will be a Dolphin this year. I said it.
I don't think so.
So
Saquon, Saquon and Josh Jacobs.
So between Saquon and Josh Jacobs, we're gonna try to stick to that topic. I love the diversity of Saquon. I do. I just the money doesn't make sense there, especially like regardless of front loading his contract, we still have to pay Christian Wilkins.
We do.
Christian Wilkins.
Well, the money either way that's going to be spent is you're probably looking at the same exact contract for these two guys. Josh Jacobs, a lot of people are forgetting, this is a guy that the Raiders declined his 5th-year option, and maybe that's part of just being the incompetence of the Las Vegas Raiders, yes. However, for his first 4 years, he was like a fringe top 10 running back, a guy that on a rookie deal, the Raiders decided wasn't even worth picking up. Now, yes, he's coming off of a season where he is the rushing leader. He took that crown, had an incredible season behind a bad offensive line. So it's not like you can make that argument, well, we have a bad offensive line and they had a great offensive line. I understand, like, he did have that year despite being behind a bad offensive line. However, I don't know how much he fits the offense that the Dolphins are trying to run. Now, you get a great player, and theoretically you can throw them into any sort of offense and they're going to do their job. And I'm not by any means saying Josh Jacobs would not be a good acquisition, but just the different things that Saquon Barkley can do on the football field. We've seen him throw a touchdown. Like, did he throw it or Odell throw it? Whichever one. I think Odell threw that actually.
Odell threw it.
Yeah, he did throw that, but I'm sure he could throw the ball. He's just good at everything he does once he gets on the field on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, can he play linebacker? We need middle linebackers still probably.
So I want to address something Cap asked. He said, "Can Barkley and Jacobs save the NFL running back market?" And
I hope so.
I think I hope so as well, because it's criminal. I've been talking about it all off season. All these running backs are getting the same exact contracts, 2 years, $8 million. Dalvin wants $10 million a year. Did you know that a franchise tag back in 2015 for a running back was $10.5 million?
So it's gone up 0.4.
No. It's 10.19 this year.
Oh, I thought it was 10.91 this year.
No, it's 10.19. It actually went down for the running backs.
Yeah, I do think it's ridiculous.
So stupid.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous how I like to think I was pretty early on in saying, like, hey, don't pay running backs. Like, obviously we weren't doing this channel or anything. It was just me talking. But I definitely understand why teams are reluctant to pay running backs. You look at Todd Gurley, you look at Le'Veon Bell, like these guys that got paid and then fell off immediately after they got paid, like, and they're very replaceable. You can find guys like Alvin Kamara in the 3rd round, and you can find Elijah Mitchell in the 7th or undrafted. Like, you can find guys that can do the job. so you don't want to pay them. But if you can get talented guys to just throw out there on the football field, that's the bottom line. You want as much talent every single Sunday as possible.
So a little bit of breaking news. Dennis Kelly, one of the best offensive linemen still available in free agency, just signed with the Eagles.
Who?
Dennis Kelly. He was probably the third or fourth best offensive lineman still available in free agency.
Yeah,
but wanted to say that. But to go off of what you're saying, look at the two teams that are just in the Super Bowl. What was it back in 2020 when was it, or 2019? Whenever the Chiefs won the first one, they went in there with Damian Williams after releasing Kareem Hunt. So they released their all-pro running back. Went there with Damian Williams, who I'm a big fan of, but he was never a top 10, top 15 running back. Very good at what he did, but he wasn't an all-star running back. Last year, they went in there with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who sucked throughout the season. Isaiah Pacheco, a 7th-round pick, a rookie at that. And then on the other side of the ball, you had Jalen Hurts with his running game. Miles Sanders, they just let him walk to the Panthers. Then they did just trade for Swift, but he's still on his rookie contract. They also signed fairly cheap running backs to load their backfield. So everybody's kind of following the same path. The only good teams right now that are Super Bowl contenders that have an all-pro running back, I would say, are the 49ers, and I think that's it.
Yeah, there is that. I could then add the caveat. So if you have a top 5, top 6 quarterback, you don't really need that. And, we've had our discussions on Tua. Like, you're definitely higher on Tua, but I still think Tua is probably the 9th, 10th, 11th best quarterback in the league, which is not a bad spot to be. But if you're just outside of that top 5, 6, or 7, like if you're just outside of, Lamar Jackson, or especially since he has mobility, Jalen Hurts, like those guys, then the running back position really matters. And that kind of gets back to my point with Saquon Barkley is you look at what he did for that Giants offense with Daniel Jones, the real only skill position player of worth they had on the team last year, got them to the playoffs. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, had a pretty good game against the Vikings. Getting those just talented guys makes a massive difference on teams, especially a Dolphins backfield, which last year was definitely underutilized. But you look at it and, I like Mostert, I like Wilson, I like A-Chain maybe for the future to, emerge as a guy. However, there's not one guy that I'm like, oh yes, I'm so happy he's on the field right now. You get Saquon, you get Josh Jacobs, and, you just throw him out there for the next couple years and just put, again, as much talent around Tua as possible. You're going to have to give up some picks. You're going to have to give up some money. But it's going to be an incredible team with either of those two on the field. I still prefer Saquon Barkley, though.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying. And, I player-wise, yeah, I'd rather have Saquon. But you're talking about money-wise, because I still rather, get Dalvin or Josh Jacobs. They're going to cost me 10, 11, 12 million dollars a year, not 16, 15, 16. And then I can go and spend, the extra $4 million and, try to pay Christian Wilkins or put that towards someone to potentially replace Christian Wilkins. Because if we can't pay him, then we can't keep him. It's just going to be the fact of the facts.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't play, I don't play this game for money or whatever, but yeah, it is what it is.
And we do apologize for Donovan's connection. He is going through a storm right now, so if at any point we lose him because it's already looking pretty rough through the stream so far. So bear with us for his side of things. I do want to point out that I don't think either of them will get moved on. So that then opens up the conversation, not even just for the Dolphins, but when's the next time, assuming both of them stay on the team, what's the next time we see Josh Jacobs step on a football field or Saquon step on a football field? Do you think they're going to hold out?
Josh Jacobs, I don't think he holds out. Maybe out of training camp for a little bit. I think that he'll take less money. I think he'll take the extension for, $10-11 million a year. Saquon though,
Well, the extension's expired. You had to sign an extension
but
by.
okay, so yeah, but that was to negate the tag. You can sign the tag and then an extension on top of the tag.
Okay, I guess
That includes
if that's
signing bonuses and everything else.
if that's the case, then I guess I misunderstood that deadline. I thought that deadline was like, hey, like if you don't get a deal signed, you're not getting a deal signed throughout the season. You have to get it done by this moment, or you're on the
No,
tag. So they could.
no, they can sign an extension on top of the tag, but they have to play this year on the tag. So if they got an extension done prior to the due date, which was Monday, then they could play this year, and instead of making the 10.19 million that the franchise tag is, they would be making whatever their contract is. So Saquon would be 15 million or whatever he would agree upon. But this year he has to play for 10.19 million. But they can, once again, manipulate the cap, give him an extra $4 million, $5 million in a signing bonus. So that way he would play this year for, technically speaking, 15 million.
So you think Josh Jacobs plays week 1? What about Saquon?
Saquon, I don't think plays this year. I think he's done as a Giant. I think he either gets traded, or I truly think he's done as a Giant.
Wow. I mean, I'm so glad I picked up Matt Breida in our Dynasty League then.
It's so earlier today he was on a podcast called The Money Matters, and he talked about a little bit. He's like, look, anybody that knows me knows I don't want to hold out. I'm not that kind of guy, but it's come to the point where that may be what he had to do. And when they asked him what his leverage is, he's like, well, my leverage could be I could my teammates, and just play the rest of the sit out the whole season.
Ain't no way you just did that. I didn't know you had a 10-year-old in here. You got a soundboard ready. I thought you said something was wrong with your soundboard. Or am I just making that up completely?
That's for the recorded. No, that's for the recorded buttons that I have, like my Let's Go and.
Oh, thank God! Thank God, you can't use those anymore, bro.
I can re-record it.
Please don't.
I just haven't.
Please don't. Playing Warzone with you and hearing those damn audio effects was horrible. What was the second thing we're going to talk about today?
That's actually. Hold on, before we get to the second thing we were going to talk about, I actually do want to say. So Zach Martin came out and said that he's holding, or he might hold out. Yeah. Connor Williams is the in-house guy that's holding out.
Is he holding out? I know he said something about wanting a contract, but is he going to hold out?
He did hold out a minicamp. I guess we'll find out on the 25th if he holds out a training camp, because he held out a mandatory minicamp.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see Connor Williams doing that.
What do you think about? I haven't heard many updates on that. A lot of the news lately has been centered around Dalvin Cook or trying to extend Christian Wilkins. I haven't really heard anything about Connor Williams, so I'm not sure. Maybe he plays this year out on his contract and then says screw the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are just hoping that they hit on one of the offensive linemen that they drafted, and they haven't yet. So,
well, my first inclination is, since we're not hearing anything about it, that maybe there's something going on behind closed doors. Like, same thing with Christian Wilkins. We haven't heard any news. I'm led to believe that on both of those fronts that they're trying. And Connor Williams is definitely underpaid. If you look at how he played last year, he did have his wayward snap every now and then. But if you just look at his offensive line presence and looking at the deteriorating line around him, he was a top 10 center last year, and I only expect that to get better since he gets more comfortable with the center position. He's on a 2-year, $16 million contract?
Yeah, he signed a fairly cheap contract. Yeah. But in my opinion, my
point with that is he's currently on a cheap contract, currently being paid about $8 million. I think if you give him an $11 or $12 million, give him a 2-year extension on top of the contract that he already has, I think
Maybe
that
with a
might be
good
enough
signing bonus.
I think that might be enough to suffice both sides, where you're not paying him over the moon
Yeah.
for it, especially with what you're giving Teron Armstead already, and you clearly have a lot of issues on the offensive line around the joint. If you give him another year or two on top of this year, and you give him $12 million, I think that's a good number for both sides.
I do as well. And what we've seen the Dolphins do with how they've manipulated the cap, it's almost that they're giving themselves this 2 or 3 year window to go and win it all with all the contracts that they signed. Like all the major contracts that they only have 2 to 3 years left on those contracts. And those are the massive ones. So why not, spend a little bit more money like you've been doing, give them a bigger signing bonus, and be like, hey, we appreciate you, we see you, and look, we're gonna do this. We're in it for the next couple of years. If we're able to get to the promised land, then maybe we can pay you more. Maybe we can't because we have to pay other guys. But
he does hold a lot
right now, he has the leverage. He is the center. He has the leverage. He is one of our best offensive linemen. He is our only offensive lineman that played every single snap this year. So there's that.
Yeah, that's what my next point was going to be. Is if he chooses to do so, he holds all the power. Not all the power, but he holds a lot of power with the Dolphins. Obviously, the Dolphins hold the power like, hey, you don't play, you don't get paid. But he holds the power in terms of, hey, how much do you trust Teron Armstead to play every single game? How much do you trust just whatever bozo ends up on Tua's blind side, all right? And Robert Hunt arguably had his worst season. Yes, there was a rotating door around him, but arguably had his worst season. And then left guard, again, what bozo is going to play next to me in the first place? So you have just uncertainty everywhere else on the offensive line. Tua is in this make or break season that I feel like everybody keeps saying every single season Tua is going into. It's his make or break season. But, it literally might physically be his make or break season. He might have a great season or he might die if he's just not protected. So he holds so much power. He literally holds Tua's brain in his hands saying, pay me or this guy's brain is just going to turn into mush every other game. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Tell me am I wrong?
That's too far, bro.
We got three dinguses. We got three absolute doofuses on the offensive line. Two great guys. One, his legs are made out of toothpicks. All right, maybe like 100 toothpicks, but still toothpicks nonetheless. And then we have Connor Williams, who's like, pay me. Look at everybody else that's going on right now. Pay me. And I can't really disagree with it. Tua might die. I spit facts, all right, guys? Like, sometimes y'all don't like what I have to say. One thing I never hold back on is telling the truth.
You're emotional. That's what you are. You're emotional.
But tell me anything Tell me anything that I've said that's been apparently wrong. Or not wrong morally, but just literally incorrect.
Not morally. You have no morals, sir.
That is false. Truth is truth. All right? Truth is truth. Tua might have 6 brain cells left.
Oh, man.
And he might have 5 if Connor Williams holds out.
No. Actually, Dieter's not here anymore. Never mind. Yeah, he might have 5 brains.
If Dieter played, it'd be 4.
No, Dieter's a good backup.
You only said that because you played basketball with him.
I did play basketball with him.
I did play basketball with him.
I also played football with Jerry Jeudy. So.
I knew you were about to say that. I knew you were about to say that. Jeez, who is the backup center?
I don't know.
You?
I don't know, and if I don't know,
your brother?
It's bad.
Your brother?
No.
Is your brother even going to start? He's going.
Bro, we need to get. Hey, our goal this year is for me to meet and take a picture with Liam Eichenberg.
Yes, and Liam. Talk to me. All right, we're gonna get closer. Liam, this ugly individual down here. I'm sorry to compare you to him, but he looks like you. I'm sorry, but he looks like you. We need you guys to meet. I am talking to your brother.
Ugly.
I'm talking to your brother. Shut up, Liam.
He doesn't care about you.
Liam, your brother right here, who is horrendously ugly. I'm sorry that I'm comparing him to you, but you're a millionaire, so you'll be all right. Please, do us the charity, all right? Just like the High Five Club. Just do us the charity to come meet with this.
My God,
I
I
know you like that
decline.
one.
I decline.
Please come meet
I
this guy.
decline.
Do you want me to? Do you want me to pull up the picture?
No,
You,
no, no. Do not. Do not,
I'll pull up the picture.
bro. For the record, when he pulls this picture up, it is not a do rag. It
It's kind of a do rag.
it is not a do rag. It is a cap to put over your hair for when you put a racing helmet on.
He's too white. Come on, y'all can't see that, can you?
You gotta take the light away.
I'm not.
Take the light.
It's not the light. It's not the light.
It's the,
Dang it!
it's the phone.
I was kind of hoping that would work. Liam, holla at your boy. Holla at your boy.
All right, so what we got next? What we got next?
So training camp is going to be starting on Tuesday, and there's a lot of different things that could happen. There's a lot of different races that are interesting to be looking at. Very interesting how the rookies do. Rookies already reported earlier this week. But, wide receiver 3 position, cornerback 3 and 4 position, the rookies, plethora of things that we are excited to look for, and potentially some breakout stars. And every single year, there's somebody that we haven't heard of that starts to emerge. Last year, unfortunately, it was Trill Will. He got hurt. A few years prior was Nick Needham. He didn't die. He's still on the team, homie. Calm down. But so what are some things or people that you're excited to see in how this team unfolds?
I'm gonna name my one for offense and one for defense.
Go for it.
The one for offense, I think you're gonna know this one. Easy, Eric Ezukama. I was pretty high on him. He had a good preseason last year, good training camp last year, but just stuck behind everybody else on that roster. And then they told him, look, you're going to be Tyreek Hill's primary backup, so you're going to need to know Tyreek Hill's role. In case he goes down, then you're going to step in and you're going to be that guy. And we did see it when he cramped up a little bit. We saw him going towards the end of the season. He did pretty well when he was in there. I'm looking for a big leap this year for him to take over the wide receiver 3 spot, because don't forget, there's technically 2 receiver spots that are open on the field this year, because Gesicki lined up in the slot a lot last year and he's no longer on the team. The one for defense, Channing Tindall. I'm interested to see Vic Fangio's defense with all these studs that we got, seeing how he rotates these players, keep them fresh. We know side-to-side speed, pure tackling, Channing Tindall is there. We don't know exactly how he's going to do in coverage. He only played like 2 or 3 snaps last year.
Those are guys that 100% I'm looking forward to seeing, especially because, like you just mentioned there at the end, we just didn't see them really at all last year. Ezekama played a little bit more towards the end. Channing Tindall played mostly on special teams when he did actually play. So seeing them actually play their positions, play their roles, definitely interested to see. My 2 guys on offense, Ezekama for sure would be one of them, but Elijah Higgins. So the tight end room is wide open. I mean, last year, I've said what I've said about Mike Gesicki. He sucks. He's terrible. Going to Elijah Higgins, a rookie who just has so much that he can prove, and he's going to have ample opportunity to do so. He could come out and win the tight end 1 job. He was a wide receiver in college. Drafted him, what was it, the 5th, 6th round, whatever it was. And he's converting to tight end, and he's very athletic. He has some speed to him. I haven't seen pictures of him, so I'd like to see how much muscle he's gained. Maybe he'll gain a little bit of weight, something that you want to see. But this tight end group is 100% completely wide open. You know what Durham Smythe's role is going to be. He's going to be a blocker. He'll roll out and try to catch somebody by surprise. He'll take a QB sneak. He'll do something along those lines. But you know exactly what you're going to get from Durham Smythe every single game. Elijah Higgins is truly a wild card. He did not play this position at all in college. Has the athleticism, has the hands, has the height, has the speed, has really some boxes that have been checked that could lead you to believe he can be a good player. And then the next guy would be Cam Smith with the cornerback position. With Byron Jones leaving, yes, obviously, we have Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey. Those are our 2 guys. Nick Needham's probably going to be that slot guy. but you need more than 3 corners, especially in the NFL of today, where you line up against teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, and like, all right, I got Tyler Boyd, or you got Jamar Chase, crap, who's got T. Higgins? Like, there's just ample guys that can line up and beat you in a variety of ways. So we are going to need Cam Smith to line up and be able to do that this year from the jump. We drafted him with a very high pick, and it's just now time to see whether he can get it going. Another guy on defense who somebody I just mentioned, Trill Will, was absolutely balling last year in training camp, and then goes down against the Buccaneers in preseason. I think he was even having himself a decent game at that point, and really could have pushed for
a really good game.
Really good game up to that point, and really could have pushed for, like we're talking about right now, that cornerback 3 or 4 spot. Knowing that Byron Jones was either what we thought at the time not going to play in the beginning of the season, ended up being all the season. With him being down, Trillo had a spot that he could have jumped into. He had that injury. The team decided to keep a hold on to him, and now he has the opportunity to replicate exactly what he did last year. And if he does so, not only is there a roster spot for him, but there are serious snaps and minutes that he's going to be getting.
I like everything you just said there, bro, 100%. And to kind of tee off on what you said, we know Xavier Howard has had his, little injury history. Can we count on him to play every single game? And I think having such a deep cornerback room like we do, I think having, Trill, having Cam Smith as our 5 and 6, even Igbo as the 7th, we're able to, if he does pull a groin, we don't need to rush him back. We could say, hey, look, miss a game or two. We have Jalen Ramsey. We feel good with Cater on the outside. We feel good with Nick Needham in the slot. We feel good with Trill Will. We feel good with Cam Smith. Take a game or two off, heal up. And same thing with every other starting corner there. We are so deep in that cornerback room that, we don't need to rush people back. Now, given last year, it was an absolute atrocity of injuries where we did have to rush X back, where he was, the number 1 corner, and we had to force him to play in games that he probably shouldn't have.
But we still have Keon Crossan, so don't worry. Anytime Keon Crossan is mentioned on this channel, one of us has to absolutely lose our mind, and Donovan has taken that role today. You come back to us, but oh no, he's not. Okay, he's ready. Keon Crossan, right? As you were saying, he's gonna be the cornerback 1, probably. Pro Bowl honors. He's still on the team, right?
If he's still on this team, he is still on the team. He signed a 2-year contract. Listen to me. Come here. Listen close. We're getting close.
It's his turn. It's his turn.
Listen to me. If Keon Crossan is still on this team by mid-season, Keon Crossan jersey.
Can you even buy a Keon Crossan jersey?
You get it from the team store.
No shot. They have a Keon Crossan jersey in the
from
team
online.
store.
No, online. So they would have to make it.
You might be the
online team store where you.
I don't think Keon Crossan's family has a Keon Crossan jersey.
That's probably true because he sucks.
You don't. That's not something you want to deal with in your life. You don't want to look at that in your closet on game day. I've got. You've got your jerseys.
That's how
I've
bad
got my
I
jerseys.
don't want him. I don't want him that bad that I'm willing to buy his. Look, if he.
This is on tape, guys. So we are. Hey, everybody in here. I see there's a few people in here. We are holding him to this. If Keon Crossan is still on this team.
So wait, hold on.
You already said it.
Hold on. I'm debating. Do I buy his jersey? Do I buy his jersey if he's cut? No, I'm saying, do I buy his jersey if he's cut, or do I buy his jersey if he's still on the team?
No, 100% if he's still on the team. That makes it more funny.
Okay.
If he's cut, they're taking it off the team website, and you'll never be able to buy it again.
I'll wear it during tailgating.
I have the best question that has ever been asked in the history of ever. No. This is a good question. This is a very good philosophical question. Who is worse? Keon Crossan.
Keon Crossan. I know who you're going to say. Keon Crossan.
Who am I going to say? Who am I gonna say?
Just say it. Just say
No,
it.
no, 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 no. I want to hear from you first. Who am I gonna say?
You're gonna say my guy that I've been advocating for over the past 2 years. No. No. Okay. Ooh, I'm
No,
intrigued.
Keon Crossan or Cody Zeller.
Keon Crossum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Noah.
Uh, yeah. Cody Zeller is
Okay,
terrible.
listen, cap for life, cap for life. I advocate for Igbo as a CB3 on most teams.
And he is just absolutely 100%, a million
And
percent
he
incorrect.
and he is our seventh corner. I am 100%, 110% happy with him as a top 6 corner on this team, let alone our 7th corner.
He is not a top 6 corner on this team. What are you talking about? It goes.
Wait, hold on. Cedric Wilson still is on the team. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Will he be the number 3 receiver? Absolutely not.
I guess since we're still talking about camp, no, yeah, absolutely not. I don't know. I don't feel great about any of the guys who I feel modest. I forgot Robbie Anderson's still on the team. Like I feel modest about pretty much everybody who's there. I don't feel good or great about anybody.
So remember how I said I don't think Robbie makes the team? I think he does.
Yeah, the more and more it's playing out, I think he does. I think Cedric gets cut. I think Braylon Sanders probably gets cut, and then you're looking at.
I think
you got
Craig
Robbie-
Kraft gets cut. I think Craig Kraft goes to practice squad.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was gonna say. I think Craig Kraft goes to practice squad and does the same thing he
You
did
gotta
last
remember,
year.
you gotta remember Braxton Berrios is on the
No,
team
I know.
too.
I was gonna say Robbie Anderson, Braxton Berrios, Eric Azukama. That's 5 right there. You probably end up going into the on roster 6 or 7 guys, 6. So that leaves room.
Probably
for
go with 6. I say Braylon makes it over Craig Kraft.
Probably of the 2, yeah, and then Craig Kraft ends up back on practice squad. But I mean, I'm surprised as anybody that Cedric Wilson's still on the team. He did nothing. He did nothing last year.
I was begging for him to be traded, and look, they discussed him like trying to find a trade for him, but no team wants to take on his contract.
I was about to say,
understandably so.
What's his guaranteed money looking like? Does he have guaranteed money tied up?
I don't. I know he's making $11 million a year. I'm not sure what the guarantees are.
So that might keep him on the team. That alone might keep him on the team. Like I'd rather have Braylon Sanders. I'd rather have River Craycraft because those are guys that at least when they got on the field last year, even though Braylon didn't really get on the field at all. Craycraft scored touchdowns at the very least. Name a good play that Cedric Wilson had last year
As a wide receiver,
as a Dolphins player.
he had a few punt returns.
For like 4 yards for the entire season.
No. There was a couple games. There was one game where he had 2 punt returns for, I think, one went for 20, one went for 40.
No, he did not. Our punt game last year was horrendous.
I want to say
that was like the worst part of the team was the punt returns.
It was at the very, very end of the season.
I think that's incorrect. I think he
Okay, so we have an update. Cap hit for Cedric Wilson is $6 million.
Okay, so
if we release him, it's a $6 million hit.
That's probably going to keep him on the team unless you can find a trade partner. But who's going to take him on?
You would still have to pay someone in his contract.
Dude,
there's no one. There's too many good. There's too many good receivers in the league.
You can trade to it's kind of like what the Brock Osweiler trade to the Cleveland Browns. Like it was agreement. Like the Browns got a lot to take him because of the contract. I'm not saying we're gonna do that for Cedric, but I can see him going to like the Texans for like a 7th round pick, and he just be a guy over there.
So the thing is that rarely happens in the NFL.
It doesn't happen often, but
you see it happen in hockey. You see it happen in the NBA. You see it happen in the MLB, where you trade, players and picks. Like the Heat literally just traded Oladipo and a 2nd round pick to OKC for nothing.
Yeah, no,
because
no.
they just wanted to free up cap.
That's why I said like I think we'll get a 7th round pick back. I'm not saying we'd give them a 7th round pick and him. Like I think we could trade. Jeez, I don't know if we could trade him for a 7th round pick.
We can't. That's why we haven't traded. Look,
Hmm.
the the Dolphins now given they have an up close look at him.
2025 7th.
The Greer said, look, like when they first signed him, he was signed on to be the number one receiver. Then they drafted Jalen Waddle. Then they traded for Tyreek Hill.
We had Wall before him.
Okay, okay. So he was signed to be the number two. Sorry, I blanked there for a second.
Imagine we went into last year with him as the 2.
But so we signed him to be the 2.
Yes.
And then we traded for Tyreek Hill, and from there on, it was just like maybe he got a little bit of his confidence hit by that trade, and maybe that's why he didn't do anything for the first 16 games. But
16, like he did anything in the week 17 game? Like anybody?
I think that was the game that he had the punt returns. I remember being at the game that he had those punt returns.
You were going on a beat there for a second. Amelia.
Amelia.
All right, let's talk Tua. Let's talk something a little bit happier.
All right. Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Tua.
Yeah. So we haven't seen it yet, but it looks like Tua's got the full arm sleeve going. We saw that ad he did where we already knew he had the stuff around the shoulder, but now you just see something creeping through there on the wrist, and it will lead you to believe that he's got that full sleeve. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that him having a sleeve is a massive deal like Donovan initially wanted to talk about. That's just not the case. It's definitely not meaning he's taking over the league, which is literally the exact conversation Donovan wanted to have.
Added Tua takes over the NFL.
Yeah, and I vetoed that. I said that sounds like BS. Nobody's going to buy into that. What people can buy into and what I can buy into is I think this is like a little bit of a start of the resurgence of the moxie that Tua might have, that he was a very confident player in college. Those first couple seasons in the NFL, he came out and spoke about how he was looking at himself in the mirror, wondering if he's actually good at the quarterback position. And then last year, he has the season that he was cut back a little bit by injuries. But let's say those injuries didn't happen. You're possibly looking like a 4,500-yard passer and a very successful season, potentially winning a playoff game. We have now seen him. Looks like he's got the tats. That shows at least a little bit of confidence. Do you think the mentality that Tua has is gone full circle and it's finally at a place where he's truly confident in himself?
I think he's truly confident in himself finally. I do think that, he embraced this whole personality that Mike McDaniel kind of pushed onto the team. Like, hey, be yourself. You are good. Go and be good. And he talked about it, and he also talked about, okay, I have someone ringing my doorbell. I'll be right back.
Well, maybe he will, maybe he won't be. Is this the last we see of Donovan Quick on the show? Good luck. Anyways, I'll continue talking about this, and hopefully Donovan returns to us. Naturally, so when if you're Tua Tagovailoa, the way that Brian Flores handled that situation, the way he played his first couple seasons, it makes sense that as a man who, especially in his shoes, has had so much success, played at such a high level in high school, played at the top level, won a national championship in college, you're used to being at those heights, and then to come out and play like you did, to be treated by your coach like you did, to be treated by the media like you did, it makes a lot of sense that you just feel like you're being pushed off a cliff, and that is your reality. And obviously, getting a tat, anybody could get a tattoo. I kind of want a tattoo. I'm not really sure if I'm going to get, but doing something along those lines shows you're comfortable, shows you're a little bit more confident, shows that you're not worried as much of what people are talking about or how people are talking about you. You're letting yourself be noticed. You're letting yourself stand out a little bit. It's kind of the mentality of people with tattoos, like on the negative side, which is, I think it's absolutely ridiculous, but like they're seen as cocky, they're seen as arrogant, whereas most of the time they're just like, I just like tattoos. But one thing that you can certainly say about most people, like, that have something like that going on is they feel very, very confident in themselves. They feel confident in their own skin, literally speaking, comfortable in their own skin. So welcome back. He did not die. Glad to see it. him getting that full sleeve tells me that he just went through the first offseason basically where he wasn't tried to be replaced, as far as we know of with the Tom Brady situation. As far as we're aware, he just went through his first offseason where they didn't try to replace him. He went through his first full season where the coach actually believed in him, and we saw him ball out, and he's been given the keys to continue that into this season. And I think the way the coaching staffs handle him, the way the front offices handled him previously, and then now you look at how he's being treated now, it makes a lot more sense that mentally he's in just infinitely better of a place than he was, let's say, a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Absolutely. I got the second part of what you were just saying there. His confidence has definitely got to be a lot better, 100% than was a year ago, or even definitely 2 years ago. And he's pushed that into his off-season training. He's pushed even harder than he has before. Taking on the jiu-jitsu this year, he was talking about no homo, being thrown around by guys in the jiu-jitsu classes all the time.
Did he have socks on?
Did he have socks on? He had socks.
Okay,
he had socks on.
We're good, Tua.
Anyways, he talked about that, and he talked about building a lot of strength in his neck. That's why his traps look absolutely huge this offseason.
That's actually like the one thing I haven't been working on. I need to hit the traps a little bit.
I have like natural traps, but anyways,
that's just fat.
This is not fat at all.
Proceed.
Anyways, as I was saying, he's building up the neck muscles. He worked hard. You can obviously see has much thicker legs. He has much thicker arms. He's built up a lot of muscle, and
he's gotten a little hot.
Absorb those hits. Because we know that Armstead is going to miss games. We know that the left guard spot is questionable at the time. We know that the right tackle spot is questionable at the time. That's his blind side. So we know that he's doing everything he can to protect himself and stay on the field as much as possible, because he knows that when he was on the field last year, he freaking balled. But you got to be able to stay upright. You got to be able to. I just replayed that Green Bay game over and over again in my head. Like, as soon as that head hit the turf, it was like, okay, bye third year Tua, hello Nathan Peterman.
That's basically how Skylar Thompson played last year. But yeah, that physical nature to it.
I said Nathan Peterman, bro.
And I know it.
Where does Skylar Thompson slander come from?
Because he basically played like Nathan Peterman. What can I say? He may have played worse than Nathan Peterman, basically. Minus the interceptions. He played like Nathan Peterman minus the interceptions. So he just didn't do anything. But back to the mentality of Tua. One thing that we've seen a lot, especially in the last couple of years, is athletes come out and be more comfortable speaking out about their mental health. The most recent one that we've seen was Deion Waiters, I think earlier this week or last week, talked about just how rough it got for him when he was in the league. And he wasn't even necessarily a guy that was under the microscope 24/7. Like, we've seen athletes like DeMar DeRozan speak out about it, and every time it does, it's a real breath of fresh air that reminds you that these guys are people too. But even DeMar DeRozan didn't necessarily have the spotlight over him at all times like Tua. Again, a guy who's had nothing but success his entire career is just smack with the reality that, like, hey, you're smaller than everybody. You're not as fast as everybody. You're not as strong as everybody. Your coach doesn't like you. The media is trying to crucify you and point out every single flaw. And then you come out, you don't play that great for the first year and a half, 2 years, and just everything starts going your way. It makes sense that just mentally deteriorates a man, makes him question himself, literally and physically look at himself in the mirror, wondering whether he's good enough. And then you start to see the signs that, maybe that page is turned. And I'm not a psychology major. I actually thought about being fun fact. I actually, kind of wanted to go into psychology before I didn't. But I've done a lot of research before I didn't. I've done a lot of my own research and stuff like that, and something that's very intriguing. And it's very rare that guys fully get over things that were once nagging them, especially where you're questioning like your manhood, basically, like, am I that dude? Am I that guy? You're not that guy, pal. But these are these signs that you can see and a man starting to turn that page, start to feel comfortable, literally and metaphorically in his own skin, and it's just a tattoo. It's not the end of the world or the beginning of the world. He hasn't won the Super Bowl. He hasn't, achieved everything in his life. But just this small thing really makes me believe he is turning that page in both his life and in his career, and he's going to play even more stress free this year. And that is just both a benefit to him and for the team.
Did you talk about the meaning of the tattoo?
I may have just in like a slight comment, but if you want to
So
go further on
yeah,
it, go ahead.
I'll explain it. So a full sleeve of tribal tattoo for the Polynesian people is basically like you're a warrior, you're a general, you're a leader, and to have that on his arm means that, to me at least, that he finally believes, look, he is that guy. He is a warrior, he is a leader, and maybe that leads to, you feel good, you play good, you win.
Yeah, 100%. And like he hasn't had to overcome some of the things like, actual literal warriors, but in the own sense and in a modern sense, this, he's providing for his family. He's going out there and not literally fighting, but metaphorically fighting against some of the strongest men in the world. Like what he's doing every single Sunday, where we see with him more than most quarterbacks what the negative side of that can be in terms of your physical health. How, in college, snaps the leg. This year, 2, 3, whatever you want to argue, concussions. And then you have to question, like, is this right for me? Do I want to risk my family having to, live with a father who mentally isn't all there because of how many times he hit his head on the ground or with another guy? And so many questions have to have been going through this guy's head in just such a short career that anytime you see like this little glimpse of some progression, some mental healing in the not physical sense, but you know what I mean, mental health healing, and just being the guy who can be the guy.
100% there, bro. And question, is this Tua, this new, more active, more likely to talk to you, interview with you, Tua, is he a good candidate for season 2 of the quarterback? I mean, we just got the approval for season 2 of quarterback.
That was an
You like that? You like
that
that
was an A
transition?
plus segue, my friend. That was an A plus segue. I love it. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I love it.
I mean, I'm asking, bro. I'm like, I personally think that it'd be really interesting to this Tua going into year 4, make or break year. He just had a child last year, his first kid. The tattoo, he's talking about going through a reveal with the tattoo and explaining it. He's happy to explain to you what the tattoo means to him, to his people, and everything else. And he's talked about, multiple times about how Tyreek and Waddle being there help him so much. Can he translate that into an interesting season of the quarterback? I mean, we need in quarterback, you need a vet, you need a young rising star, and then you need, a questionable player. Last year, the questionable player was Mariota. Could Tua be that questionable player?
I mean, I think he's a step above Mariota, and
Oh,
so yeah,
100%.
for
Like,
sure.
I'm not trying to compare.
I know what you meant by it.
Mariota wasn't as
I just wanted to make sure they knew what we were talking about when we said it. So first and foremost, before I said anything, yeah, pretty much. I'm sure there's somebody, like there's a spy in here somewhere that's like writing down everything I said. Like, okay, they're on the good side or the bad side. Anywho, before I add any spiel, yes, I would love to see the behind the scenes with Tua. Now, there is the thing of like with Hard Knocks, the team that has been on Hard Knocks is never won the Super Bowl. I don't even know how many teams that have made Hard Knocks have even made the playoffs that year. Like having that camera crew around, the players claim it's not there's no negative behind it. They claim that they end up being very pleasant to deal with and very non-invasive. But having that camera there definitely adds just something for you to think about. You definitely just change some things about how you walk around. And when you're focusing on an NFL season, especially literally in the midst of an NFL season, having that little thing to think about could be a little bit of an annoying thing for the team and specifically Tua. However, just as a fan, I would love to see more coverage of my quarterback. I would love to get to know who he is, especially since, like you mentioned, he has been previously very private in his life. We get to learn more about him. Like he just recently posted his wife on his Instagram for like the first time, and like kind of introduced us to him, or us to her for the first time. Stuff like that where we haven't learned a lot about who he is as a guy. I think this would be an excellent opportunity to. The only thing I can see Netflix doing be like, hey guys, we kind of beat the horse with the whole Hawaiian thing on Mariota. Are we really going to do that again with Tua? That's the only thing I can see being like a thing like, hey guys, we already checked the Hawaii box. All right, we already checked the Samoan box. Do we need to do that again? Just because I know that's how corporations and corporate people think, is like all they want to do is check boxes everywhere. Is that something that they would have to talk about? But yeah, the perseverance, everything he's had to gone through, and then now just what the team looks like, being able to get an insight. Like I love when they have the mics on the guys, and you get to watch like Tuesday, like the next Tuesday or Wednesday, they come out with all the mic'd up footage that they got of all the players around the league. I think that's absolutely amazing because you get to hear what it's like to be in the game, and then having that with your own guy, having that with Tua. Hey, yeah, it'd be a little bit of distraction, but please, I would love to hear it.
I 100%. And I really don't think it's that much of a distraction because before, like, I don't think they film them on game days. Like, they have, like, the NFL films through, like, they normally do when you're mic'd up or whatever. But, they're not sitting there interviewing you before the game, during the game, after the game. It's not really invasive during that. During practices, they're mic'd up as well, but it's nothing like, oh, yeah, let me interview you. Like, maybe before a workout, during your recovery, and a little snippet at home. It really wasn't that invasive from what I saw, at least from what we saw on the show.
I'm only on episode 2. I just finished episode 2. Don't say too much.
I'm not.
Go ahead.
No, I was done.
Okay.
I was done.
Okay, so yeah, I think it'd be very interesting thing to do, and just getting more access to one of our favorite players, our quarterback. I think it'd just be nothing but a positive thing. But talk about quarterbacks, we'll go talk about the guys they throw it to. It is trivia time. We've talked about all the topics we really wanted to talk about. Talked about some little bit of extra ones, but every now and then, and it's actually more and more common recently. We like to throw a little bit of trivia at you guys. This time, I will be your host, and Donovan will be the one having to answer. And what he is trying to answer is trying to come up with the top 12 wide receivers in Dolphins history all time. I don't need to get any more into it. Donovan, you know the rules. Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna start out with the easy ones. Barkley and Mark Duper.
That's 1 and 2.
OJ McDuffie should be 3.
He is not, but he's on the list.
Really? Tony Nathan?
Tony Nathan is on the list.
All right. Devontae Parker?
Devontae Parker is number 6. I forgot to read the other ones out. It was 1, 2, 5, 6, and 10 is what we're at so far.
Ooh. Let me go with a couple easy ones. Brian Hartline, Jarvis Landry.
That is 8 and 9. We're getting there. No strikes so far. No incorrect answers.
Did I say Chris Chambers?
You did not. Chris Chambers is number 4. We are missing 1, 2. We're missing 4, I think.
What numbers are they?
No, keep going. Hey, you haven't got one wrong yet. You're not getting any yet.
All right. I'm not. No, I'm saying like what on the list.
I know. You haven't got one wrong yet. You're just gonna keep rolling off until I feel you need some help.
I don't think Ted Ginn was there long enough. Anthony Fasano.
No. God. Not even close.
Did I say Jalen Waddle?
You did not.
Jalen Waddle, C12.
No, he did not make the list.
Dang it! What number was he?
I don't know. Actually, never. Oh, he's 22.
Okay, so 2 seasons.
When we were looking
Okay.
before, but before the episode, I was like, oh yeah, there he is. I never found him. I was just like, I can't find this guy. But if I said that, said, oh, I can't find him, it's clear he's not in the top 12. All right, strike number 1 for you. Don't even know if we're doing strikes, but
that's technically strike number 2. But
oh yeah, Fasano. Jeez.
What a guess.
Okay, we're looking for number 3, number 7, number 11, and number 12. I've heard of 3 of these guys.
You've heard of 3 of those guys?
Yes. See, I have some knowledge.
Ooh.
Never would have guessed this other guy ever.
Was it a longevity guy or something?
I'm surprised you could even say that word out loud. He retired in 85. That's the hint I'll give you.
Oof, no, I'm not gonna guess that.
Yeah, but here's the thing: he's number 7, so like I couldn't just cut him out.
Yeah, don't blame me there.
But the other 3, you definitely know their names, because I know their names.
All right, so that's definitely post 2000 then.
Not necessarily.
Greg Camarillo.
No. Gosh, I don't even know where he is on this list.
I never guessed Ted Gings. I don't think he was there long enough, but just actually give me Brandon Marshall. He was here for 2 years. 3 years.
No.
Charles Clay? I think I said Charles Clay.
You did not say Charles Clay. He's number 28. One of these guys was there for 12.
Right, give me some hints.
Was there for 13 seasons. The other was there for 9 seasons, 5 seasons, and another 5 seasons. So we have Devon Bess. Yes. That was a shock to me that he made it. Like, I knew he was all right, but I didn't know he was that all right. So we have 3 more, including number 3.
I can't believe. Do you know number 3?
I know who number 3 is. Yes, I would have guessed him. So it's kind of like, dang, Donovan, come on.
Dang it, dude. I'm trying to think.
We are done. We are done with the 2000s. I think. We are done with the 2000s. Yes.
Done with the 2000s.
One of these guys' names.
Fryer.
Fryer was 14th. Just missed. Surprised you knew that guy. I'd never heard of him. One of these guys, his name sounds very similar to a former backup quarterback of ours.
Bridgewater.
Very,
Brissett?
very similar.
To Bridgewater or Brissett?
No, neither. No. Few years prior. At least a few years prior. Multiple years prior.
Kenny Stills?
No. Kenny Stills, where is he? I don't think he's anywhere near this. Kenny Stills was 20, right behind the worst tight end in Dolphins history. Mike is
I'm sorry.
He's not the worst.
I'm sorry I haven't guessed this guy yet. Nat Moore, number 3.
Nat Moore, dude. Come on, dude. That's
I feel bad for that one. Not gonna lie.
That probably would have been the second name out of my mouth. Third after Duper Clayton, cause he's third.
Yeah.
So we're missing 7 and 12. 7 I've never heard of. 12 I've definitely heard of.
How long did 12 play here for?
5 years. 70s. Undefeated team.
And you know him?
I do. Remember we were talking about the guy who has a weird name, and I forgot to email that guy. I just remembered. The guy has a weird name. The last name. Part of the first part of that last name is in the first part of this guy's last name.
I don't think I'm gonna get this.
What was the guy's last name that we were talking about on the phone earlier? Dude, when I was at the gym.
Smith.
No, bro.
What guy were we talking about?
His nickname is Cup.
Oh, War Cup.
The first part of that last name.
So Warfield?
Paul Warfield.
Paul Warfield?
Yep.
He was a running back.
He made a list. They have him here as a wide receiver.
He was not a wide receiver. I
Well,
remember.
the guy who's number 7 played 10 seasons from 76 to 85. That is the last guy on the list, I think. Yeah, that's the last guy on the list. If you, I wouldn't be. Do you want to even try to guess it, or do you want me to just tell you? Initials are DH.
Harris?
Yes. What's the first name?
It's not Damon, is it?
No, but got the letter right. I think you did in fact
Oh,
get the name right.
well, you said DH.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna get it. I know him as Harris.
Duriel Harris.
I was not guessing that.
Yeah, I know you were. So just run it back for you guys one more time. We have Mark Duper, we have Mark Clayton, the Mark brothers, Nat Moore, Chris Chambers, OJ McDuffie, Devontae Parker, Duriel Harris, Brian Hartline, Jarvis Landry, Tony Nathan, Devon Best, and Paul Warfield as the 12. If you have any other ideas you'd like for Miami Dolphins trivia, let us know down in the comments below. But Donovan, as for you and I think that is all we had for today. We don't need to ramble on like we did last time for like an hour and a half afterwards with Liz. I did tell Liz that we were going live, but she's occupied at the moment, so she did not join us. But as far as I'm aware, that's all we had planned for today.
I think that is. I kind of want to. I did have the past 15 season receivers pulled up. If you want to,
Nah, we'll save
try
that.
that.
Nah, we'll save that.
I'll save that.
We'll save that for next, especially since you just literally brought it up. So we'll save that for next week. I think that's a good place to call it. You know, we oftentimes end up going on these long rambles at the end and just wasting some time. But
Don't want to do that.
yeah, I'm hungry. The only thing I really ate today is the steak. So I'm probably gonna go
Half
get
of
some.
it.
No, I ate like a solid 65-70% of it. It was just hard to eat it while I'm literally talking to somebody about a job. Not a job, but you know what I mean. Actually, I will tell you about this, I guess, as a little announcement before we go. If any of you guys are FAU fans or become FAU fans, even casual, do not care. Starting on I think it's July 28th, will be the first live stream of the FAU Owl's Nest podcast hosted by your boy, Zach Weinberger, and a couple other people that will pop in and out. But we're gonna be covering FAU football, FAU basketball. The days that we have planned out are still in flux, but the first day that we're doing it is going to be that Friday, the 28th. So if you guys are interested at all in any sort of FAU sports, especially football, as that is the season coming around, we will, of course, cover the men's team who are starting the season 5th in the standings. So when that comes around, we're going to be covering all things FAU sports, but specifically those two programs. So tune in on FAU Owl's Nest. You want to go over and subscribe to them already. That would be greatly appreciated. Just look out for that live stream on the 28th. We will be live on here, but the whole reason I brought it up is because I was just on a phone call talking about that earlier today. So look out for that if you're interested in some FAU content. As for Donovan and I, that'll be the show. If you have not done so already, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, go back and watch some videos. Like yesterday, I talked about what I'd rather have Josh Jacobs or Saquon Barkley. Earlier on today, Donovan and I talked a little bit more in depth, two of us, about who we'd rather have. And if you've missed any of the stream, just look out on the next few days or so, and you'll catch all the things you've missed individually clipped up over the next few days. Donovan, anything you want to add before we say goodbye?
I think that's about it. If you guys want to join the Discord, I believe it's in the description below.
It is.
If you haven't changed anything, yeah, there it is. So join up our Discord. We got our general stuff that we'll post in there occasionally. We also have Two and Non, True Truthers. We have a defensive chat. We also have chats for other South Florida sports such as Panthers, Heat, and Marlins. Also, if you guys have any channel suggestions or channel questions, you can post it in the Discord channels as well. And then, of course, if you guys want to argue with each other, we have discussion groups, non-toxic and toxic.
Just get the toxic. That's just we all know that's toxic. Just get the toxic. But yeah, with all that being said, we thank y'all very much. Next Wednesday, be back live with you guys, same time every single week. Appreciate y'all tuning in today. Thank y'all to Concrete. Thank you to Cap. Thank you for everybody who got interactive in the chat. Appreciate it. Makes our lives easier. Y'all come in and start talking to us. But yeah.